Oh, and welcome back to the Gfinity Starcraft Spring Masters 2, live from London, England. Look at that, isn't it wonderful? It's majestic, and there's people like Bunny saying we've given nothing to the world. Look at that. Doesn't it make you proud, Ben? You meant to say yes.
Yes, I mean, I nodded, but like saying he gave nothing to the world, he's saying we gave Nando's to the world, which in itself is everything.
Well, true, but you know, it's still not acceptable in my book. Anyway, I did promise you guys some Zerg action when we got back, so look, we're going to have that next game, which is going to be between True and Hyun. Let's just talk a little bit about that, because obviously we've got Kaldor back with us. So we brought you in for your Zerg expertise.
Yeah, we had the match already once, and back then apparently like, Hyun lost without even taking a single map. Like that game was over in a flash. I remember casting the other series, and I think they started at the same time.
Yeah.
And then was it game 1 at the end?
Yeah, it popped up on the screen, you know.
Yeah. Just popped up and was like, what? Like that was over in a flash. So I'm not sure what exactly happened there, but I feel like Hyun is someone who's extremely strong in ZVZ and was for a long time. That he gets taken out like that was probably something that he was not too happy about, and I think he prepared for that quite a lot now. So I think it's not going to happen in the same fashion to him once more.
But I mean, the Hyun we've sort of seen, it's been fits and starts really. I mean, the game against Showtime wasn't exactly particularly clean either.
I mean, like he did drop a map to Showtime, who looked a bit rocky this tournament in general, but the final game he got himself together. Like one advantage that Hyun does have though, so he's already played True, he lost, but then he got to watch him play against Jadon, or at least the replays are available for him to study a little bit. So that's given him quite a few strategies to see, and like looking how a player plays in ZVZ, that is pretty much everything, given the way that the build orders work in the early phase of the game. So yeah, Hyun should be going into this a little bit more prepared now.
Will he be a little bit more confident though? Because he didn't, even when he won, he didn't look particularly settled. He didn't look happy with his performance.
I think for him it was just like one of those things where he said to himself, I should have won this with like a 2-0. I came into the series with just a different mindset, and especially on the second map against Showtime, it was all about him trying to break him and going into that Road Hydra combination the entire time, never really transitioning out and utilizing that massive advantage that he had. I think that second game was really what he was angry about, because he oftentimes goes into these games and is a bit of a perfectionist, I want to say there, and tries to also like draw the confidence for the next game. But I think he's going to leave that behind him. Afterwards, like he was really relaxed. He was in the play area and pretty chilled out. So I actually think he can take it here. I believe in Hyun. True is great. He's a really good player there. He already won against Hyun once, but I think in the second series, Hyun has what it takes to take it.
I just want to ask you a little bit as well, because I know you've talked about this kind of backstage with me. You know, mirror matchups. You know, you're not really a fan of them.
In general, like I think it's always better for the audience if you have like a mixed matchup. Just like there can be great mirror matchups. Terran versus Terran, for example, can be quite exciting. You have great PvP and also great ZVZ. So all of the mirror matches offer quite something. But I feel for a lot of the viewers out there, it's always better to go into one of the mixed matches. So when it comes to like just showing something to the audience, I feel you're always better off, if you have a choice, to pick the other game.
So just a quick question as well about sort of the psychology. Obviously, True, you know, you're talking about the advantage that Hyun has. But now, what does True do? Because he's got to think about, well, maybe he's watched some of the games and he's watched me play and he's going to have a different strategy. So does he double buffer him and stick to just doing what he was going to do anyway, or does he need to switch things up?
You know, he's already beat him once today, 2-0, and it was remarkably fast. I mean, the result came up pretty quickly, so goes into this confident as ever. Yes, he lost against Jadon right after that in a ZVZ as well, but he lost in a pretty like cheesy way, you know, like that doesn't happen to you every day. So does he go into this game with any other mindset besides confidence? No. Like it's a clean slate for both of them. The advantage they had from earlier beating him, like, that's gone. It's clean slate, clean slate.
This is, there's a lot of psychological warfare going on. I think it's kind of like, what do I do? Anyway, we'll have a look at the brackets. Just so we can bring up what's happening within the context of the tournament, and this is what we're talking about. You can see there that Jadon is through. Looking good as well, actually looking a bit more like his old self. I mean, we said it was a cheesy victory, but it was decisive.
It's a victory.
Yeah, and he'll definitely take that at this moment in time, no doubt about it. You can also see as well the game that we are going to be showing very soon down there, True and Hyun. And we'll move on to the next bracket as well, because we've had a few other results. So this is from Group B. We did just see Bunny in that great series against Patience. He said he was looking to get through it. That sets up Patience and MC. And we're divided in here about that one, aren't we?
Patience MC? We are. And for good reason. MC's been around for a very long time, and he has been one of the premier Protosses for all that time. You know, like he'd go to an MLG, he'd be a top dog. He's won GSLs. He's one of the biggest prize earners in the world. But recently, it's kind of a similar thing with Jadon. Despite the heights that they've reached previously, are they reaching those heights now? And the answer is like, not really. And going up against Patience, even though he's a name that's kind of been under the radar in the whole scene, in Korea, he's been doing remarkably well. So if we talk about like just current form, Patience is on the up and up, and I don't know where MC is right now.
We'll go to Group C, and you can see that's all been decided here. So we know who's through. It's all fairly straightforward. Any surprises there, guys?
Not so far. Like, I mean, Starcraft against Utherm was a repetition of a match that we saw in the upper bracket already, and we all said that it would be really difficult for Utherm to go through here. And at the beginning, just looking at the group, we would have expected the two Koreans to get through. Like SS, as everybody expected, takes the top spot. Starcraft comes in second. Still unfortunate, of course, that the local hero was not able to get that second map pocketed in, but yeah.
We're all wearing a black armband. It's just a sad day.
I mean, that was the most predictable group in my eyes, especially the order in which player went in and which player went out. Like SOS, he's a BlizzCon champion. He's one of the, if not the best Protoss on the planet. You know, there's only a few that are in that hierarchy. You get CJ Hero, you get Rain, but then you get SOS as well. So, you know, he was pretty much expected. And Protoss against Zerg recently with Swarm Host change.
Ignoring Parting, my boy, they are unbelievable.
I mean, Parting's certainly up there. You know, he's certainly up there. He just belongs to that echelon.
Anyway, let's talk just quickly about Group D. We can see that's all been decided while we were watching the other game. Obviously, Hydra's come through against San. So, I mean, is that what we expected to see there?
Maybe not in that order. I think that group was a very hard group to read, given that it is 4 Koreans.
And 3 Zerg.
Yeah, like Solar, Hydra, and San, I'd say, are all on a pretty similar level, actually. Maybe Solar and Hydra were the favourites of the group. Symbol, we don't really get to see a lot of. He just joined Jinair, which is a big deal. Jinair are a top end team.
Yeah, big deal for him, definitely.
Yeah, and the fact that he went out straight away, like, wow, quite disappointing from him, actually.
Yeah, he might have an email waiting for him when he gets back to the hotel. Yeah, this isn't working out. I'm kidding. I'm sure it's not that brutal. And you can see, so this is what we're looking at here for the knockout stage, which of course we'll be getting into tomorrow. Some incredible games, still not fully decided, but just pick out a couple of the fixtures there.
I'm loving that, actually. That's the first time that I see it, because it just came from the other series, and the only thing I got in between this and that is like ordering food. So I'm actually loving this bracket. J-Dog against the Protoss is going to be great, no matter who it's going to be. Of course, J-Dog MC, just from like the ring of it, would be absolutely amazing. Now it's gone, and I don't know the second game anymore, but I love the Bunny match as well. Bunny against one of the Zerg players. That's the matchup. On the back of this matchup, he won G3 back then. He took down Hyun, he took down every single Zerg player that he faced. So I'm really, really looking forward to this one. This is going to be brilliant, no matter who he faces. And if he faces Hyun, it's of course going to be the rematch from the game back then. That's going to be pretty good.
So what about you, Ben? Anything that leapt off that page?
Bunny doesn't like playing against Zerg of all 3 races right now. So him going up against Zergs in that bracket, it's gonna be tough. That was just Zerg central over there. So if he manages to make it to the final,
but you knew that coming into the tournament.
I mean, there were a lot of Zergs here, but Bunny is the best Terran that was here, like without a shadow of a doubt. So the fact that he's made it, it's really good. And I am a bit of a Bunny fanboy, but yeah, it's going to be hard if he can make it to the final. Which, by the looks of it, I mean, the potential is there. If we could get like a Bunny SOS final or something.
I've said it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, this is his tournament. This is his tournament where he performs the best at. You know, so it's awesome to see.
So we'll see how that goes. Just back to the game that we're about to show you, True versus Hyun. Let's get some predictions on the table. Let's put our money where our mouths are.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Hyun. True defeated him the first round, but I think this time Hyun is gonna come back. He has the confidence now, and I'm gonna believe in my boy. He's gonna take it.
Beat him once already. Going to beat him again. It's going to be 2-0.
All right, well, I'm just not going to make predictions, because every time I do, you say you don't even know what you're talking about. You can see we've got the head-to-head records, and of course, you know, it's fairly Spartan. We've got the results there. I don't know how much like that sheds on, but, you know, you can see that, yeah, it's kind of 50-50, right?
The Unbelievable is going to make it.
The Unbelievable. Yeah. All right, okay, well, we'll see if you're right. Thanks a lot for your thoughts. As always, we're now going to go to the casters and bring you that game, Hyun versus True. Take it away, boys.
Thank you very much, Richard and team. Incredibly exciting matchup I think we have coming up here, and like the analyst desk has already touched on, it's a ZV that's already happened once already. Hyun and True have met each other. True with, I have to say, a fairly convincing 2-0 this first time around. can Hyun turn it around?
I think he can. I'm 100% agreeing with Caldor. I think this is going to be 2-1 to Hyun because #Hyunstoppable. I think he's going to pull it out.
I think it's a little bit Hyun-likely, but
Oh,
we'll
God.
find out in just a bit, guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at what maps we're going to be looking at here for this best of 3. Vetoes coming out from Hyun include Coda and Echo, disliking all maps with 4 letters in their name. Meanwhile, True has vetoed Expedition, Lost, and Vani Research Station, which leaves us with Iron Fortress to start us off with, followed by Inferno Pools, and then we're going to be moving on to Cactus Valley if we require a 3rd and final game.
Now, we've got to touch on this. Inferno Pools is map number 2. Is that the first time we've seen this?
It's the first time I've seen it in any game I've cast.
It's the first time I've seen it in any game we've casted.
Exactly.
So I think it probably is the first time, but well, we'll come on to that in our second game because first we have Iron Fortress starting things off in this ZVZ and spawning down to the bottom right-hand position of the map. He represents Dead Pixels. It's the Red Zerg. It's True. He was able to win their first head-to-head at this tournament, but looking to shake things up a bit, he plays for Roccat. It is the Blue Zerg, Hyun.
All right, man. So while we're getting started, getting into the thick of things this game, Maddles, how are you doing? You've had some lunch now. It was a massively, massively late lunch, and I think everyone at the analyst desk and everyone who's been listening to the stream will be pleased to know we went somewhere that wasn't Nando's.
I know. As much as I love Nando's, I couldn't do like Rotti and well, the 2 Kevins yesterday had like 3 Nando's.
Yeah, man.
And they got
Breakfast,
here at
lunch, and
3
dinner.
p.m. I don't know how they could have done it, but no. I have to have a bit of variation in life, but good old Nando's, it's always good. How do you have yours?
What do you mean? My Nando's.
What's your Nando's order?
Nando's is the home of Sprocanta. Everyone loves the fact that you have unlimited drinks means you get Sprite, Coke, Fanta in this massive mix. Also,
And that is an example of just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. Oh, goodness.
well, not too much variation in the builds so far, guys. We can see both players going up to second base. There's a little bit of a faster hatchery and a spawning pool coming out from Hyun here. So Hyun's going to be able to get a couple of lings out on the field. Actually 6, a little more than normal, but the gas coming out just a bit sooner for True. I think because of the distances that we're going to have to be traveling here, it's not going to make a massive difference because by the time the spawning pool completes for True, he will be able to start the queens and get a couple of Zerglings out at the very least.
No, it is just really interesting the way this has come through because 6 lings is quite a big investment here from Hyun. I don't know if he's expecting to see that hatch first style play that we did get out of True in all 3 of his games up against Jaedong earlier, because that is possibly something that Hyun's been watching. Obviously speed coming through here as well, but that as a result means True is going to have Zergling speed done. He's got the 2 hatches slightly earlier. He's going to be able to pump out a lot, and he pulled drones off of gas, so he may go for a lot of speed links. The only thing that's really saying no, he's not going to do that is the fact there are drones in production still.
Yeah, and right now it's not any sort of overinvestment by any means. Hyun just trying to pick off a drone or 2 right now. He's going to see if he can get some economic damage done early on. A couple of drones actually going to be participating in the fight, and don't forget, double queens are about to pop as well. So True at the moment isn't really hurting. They're both at 19 workers. The queens are going to pop out, and that's going to make life very, very difficult for these lings to get any damage in.
Yeah, they haven't done really anything at all yet. They got a bit of scouting information. They're going to see the shimmering of the spawning pool, know that speed's coming on down. That's going to allow True to get a good period of time where he's got good map control, map dominance, because there isn't any speed down yet. For Hyun, it's only about a quarter of the way through a best, so that's a bit of a delay. But Hyun is still mining gas, whereas True isn't mining any at the moment. And that means Baneling Nest coming on down, and potentially a little bit of Baneling Wars.
So what Hyun did over there was, I mean, it didn't really work out that well, but if you imagine he tried to do a similar strategy on a smaller 2-player map, for example, it could have been quite frustrating to have to deal with 6 links so early before your queens pop. But just because of the distance here, it's not that much of a problem. And now the 2 queens and defender's advantage is going to, well, at least a couple of links sleep through the net. And more importantly, he needs to see the Baneling Nest. And he will be able to spot that. So True knows that some aggression might be coming his way now.
Spotting the Baneling Nest is a really big boost for him, and immediately True is going to chuck down that Spine Crawler just to be a little bit on the safe side, make sure he doesn't get caught off guard. He also spots there's quite a few Zerglings out here already, but it's not too much of a surprise, because if you look over at True's side, he of course did get speed down earlier. He stopped gas production. There may have been a little bit of fear in Hyun that there was a lot of speedlings coming. It was the build that Jaedong used against True actually in game number 3. But Hyun, with now speed, with now that Baneling Nest, he's going to be able to apply a bit of pressure himself. And that's why we're seeing these Evo chambers come down, the spine crawlers come down, just trying to narrow up that choke position. Even a second spine getting started now.
Well, he's going to need to very soon indeed. All right, the first spine crawler is done. Now, the number of workers, guys, 35 to 27 in True's favor. If True is able to hold against this aggression coming in from Hyun here, he will be able to push this back and have an economic advantage. But the army supply for Hyun, pretty big right now, and he's got Banelings as well. Is that enough, though? Oh my god, that's a lot of Banelings. Is that enough to defeat all of the spine crawlers and queens, though?
Well, the queens are already making that wall off. That's really going to be helpful there, as long as they got it full. As a result, the Banelings not able to get through too easily. A couple of good shots coming off on those queens. The high energy one is taken down. Moving up into the main base, here comes Hyun with quite a few speedlings surrounding one of those queens. He's going to be able to take that down. And True, he just doesn't really have too much stuff here yet, waiting for those speedlings to pop.
Now, he's okay in the natural at the moment. I don't think there are any lings in the mineral line there, so he's just going to be able to move the queens over there. That means he hasn't actually lost a critical number of workers at the moment. True's still ahead, 31 to 29 workers right now, and speedlings versus speedlings just being chased around, and with 2 queens in support as well. I actually think Hyun is not going to be able to go anywhere with this. The lings can't go down the ramp. There are 2 spine crawlers there. It gets cleaned up, and True is now ahead 58 to 43 supply.
And the worker count is still in True's favor. Even though there was a little bit of drone damage done, it was nowhere near enough for Hyun yet. These speedlings counter-attacking on their own shouldn't be too much of a concern when there are Banelings. We see one, the remains of its explosion there, but with the Banelings, I don't think True's going to be able to get too much done, but he does have a lot of speedlings there.
He needs to be very, very careful. I mean, these Banelings need to zone them out like nobody's business. He can't afford to lose 2 or even 1 of them right now. True, he's taking his third base behind this, but it's because he has just so much map dominance. Yes, Hyun has 3 Banelings, but True has so many more Zerglings, and if he's not careful, Hyun, True could just run past him and do a lot of damage to the mineral line. Hyun's trying to buy time to get his roaches out here.
And he's already started them. He's got roach speed coming on through. He's got the +1 missile attack also on its way through, but that's mimicked over on True's side. He's getting down the +1, also grabbing up the Baning Nest. The third base really could be key, though, for our Red Zerg True, because if he's able to get that up and secured, his already good economic position for quite a bit of the early game is just going to be further enhanced. Oh, those lings are brave.
Those Banelings as well were very honey badgery, but it looks like they're going to go down, trying to target a couple of the queens inside the bases there, and a good bit of micro coming out from Hyun means that that's not going to be possible at this time, but a lot of Zerglings coming through. Now he knows the Banelings are out in the middle of the map, and here we go into the main base, and this could end up doing a lot of damage. We're going to be overwhelming Hyun very quickly here. Where is the rest of Hyun's army? It's nowhere to be found right now.
Those Banelings went so far out on the map, didn't really get any detonations, and as a result, nothing back at home. Down go 2 queens now, 9 drones already picked off. There's the Banelings though.
Oops,
nice hits. That should shut it down, but still, 9 drones killed. 2 queens picked off, beautifully done, and another Baneling gonna die there.
But there's gonna be a parting gift here from True. He's got 3 Banelings just sitting, waiting for the workers to come back in. Sees the roaches going out as well, and this could spell disaster. We're gonna keep an eye on those Banelings. Roaches now moving out, but here come these Banelings. Good wow, excellent splits actually, and it doesn't look like they're gonna get that many at all. 2, I count 2 so far. Wow, was that more than 2?
Nope.
No, that was it.
Went down.
Very, very nice micro there from Hyun, guys. Excellent class, I suppose, there in how to split your drones in the face of Banelings, and his units were nowhere close as well.
Beautiful defense. As a result, Hyun minimizes what could have been disastrous damage for him. But look at the worker count charts up. 56 to 46. 10 worker lead. Third base already established, up and running for True. He's slightly behind in the upgrades, but it's only by a couple of seconds. +1 just finishing up for him now. Army supply, though, that's where the story gets very shocking.
Yeah,
68 to 22 in True's favor.
At the end of the day, those advantages that True managed to squeeze out of Hyun's earlier game aggression, they've just continued to snowball a little bit because he's been able to enjoy roughly a 10 worker count for quite a while. And don't forget how early True's third base managed to get up when we saw those speedlings moving out across the map as well. All of this has given True an economic advantage that's approximately equivalent to double Hyun's current total supply. That's insane! And almost all of that is in army.
Now, if we look at what is going well for Hyun, he is getting his third base up and running now. He does have quite a lot of the map control. He's doing a little bit of poke and prod damage here. That 3 roach hit squad, really nice just to try and pick up a couple of drones, keep True on his feet. But we shouldn't underestimate this supply difference, specifically the army supply. There is just so much stuff out for True at the moment, and even catching a few roaches in the center of the map here, going to be able to pick those up very nicely.
Yeah, this is... unfortunately, no matter how technical the upgrades are going to be or anything like that, there will reach a point in ZVZ where if you're able to use these small advantages in your favor enough, it then simply becomes a numbers game. And I think True now is sensing blood, and he's happy for it to become a numbers game. 54 to 53 workers. Hyun has caught up, but all this time True has just been non-stop making his army. Roach speed is going to be done in a little over 5 seconds as well. And you know what? He's already knocking on Hyun's third. There is no way Hyun is saving this. And I think, well, game number 1, I can't see it. I can't see Hyun winning this at all.
Yeah, True already pushing forward. He knows that he can always retreat back to that third to pick it off. Gets a complete surround on the units there for Hyun. He's up by nearly 4 times the supply now. GG is called, and True, looking dominant in that first game of this best of 3, gets himself into a really nice spot.
And I have to say that was somewhat similar almost to the first 2-0 we saw, when True looked like he was taking a comfortable 2-0 victory over Hyun. Look at him looking all badass in that booth there, shaking his head a little bit, grabbing some water, feeling all right. He looks pretty fresh and ready to go. And Hyun, on the other hand, is going to be asking himself some serious questions right now, because don't forget, this is the last game of the group, Adam. Whoever wins goes on. Whoever loses goes home.
Of course, getting through to that bracket stage not only means more prize money, more WCS points, but it also means the potential to go quite a lot further. It's a best of 3 ultimately in the round of 8. And
I love Jin stood behind Hyun there, looking over his clipboard, going, "You could have done this better. You could have done this better." He's like the disappointing father figure in the back of the booth there. Of course, Hyung Jin-oh, our head admin here at Gfinity, doing a tremendous job with the team from Connect Slovenia, I believe, this weekend.
Yep.
So, guys doing a fantastic job there. And, well, game number 1, this could be over very quickly if it was as one-sided as we saw in the first map. Let's take a look at what our maps look like again so we can give you an update on where we're at. We're going into Inferno Pools, which we really haven't seen a lot of this weekend at all. And if we require a third game, if Hyun is able to make it back, we're going to be going on to Cactus Valley.
now, Inferno Pools is a bit of an odd map overall because it's really difficult to take third base generally. It's not as bad in a mirror matchup, though, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not a huge problem. It's interesting both of them as well have picked big 4 spawn position maps to start things off. They don't want it to be into not a coin flippy situation, but an all-in situation. They don't want to get a 9 pool like we saw True get against Jaedong. So they're just instead wanting to go for a bit more of a macro game where possible. But if game 1's anything to go by, that hugely favours True.
So Hyun's a very aggressive player, right?
Yep.
We often see our aggressive players, we saw it on Inferno Pools, we saw it on map 1, where you had the decision to make the 6-lings initially, you had the decision to make the earlier Baneling nest. There was no question that all of the earlier aggressive plays belonged to Hyun there. It's just that True has simply been able to shut them down. And especially in ZVZ, which is such a precise matchup where even tiny errors can just cost you so much. You get a lead of about 5 workers, you're able to maintain it for any period of time, and it really does start to snowball. And it wasn't a case of a 5-worker lead or something in game number 1. It was a worker lead plus getting the third base down, and having those larvae there as well, as you know, Maddles, it's pretty big.
It's massive, and I don't think we should underestimate the start of the game, though. Hyun did start out with those 6-lings early on. That's 3 drones that he didn't have. And little advantages like that, if they don't do any damage at all, can really compound nicely. But we're getting ready for Inferno Pools. What do you think to this map? Do you reckon it's going to be a longer game? It is a huge map after all.
I'm hoping we don't see cross positions because I want to see some of the more aggressive stuff work, but we'll find out because we're about to hop in and go ahead and take it away, Maddles, while I eat my words.
Well, up to the top right-hand position. He's currently 1-0 up in this best of 3. If he wins this, he advances into tomorrow's bracket stage, the round of 8. All the glory, all of the WCS points, all of the money for it. He plays for Dead Pixels. It's True. Looking very focused there. Meanwhile, down to the lower left, spawning cross on Inferno Pools. He represents Rockat, needs to win this to keep the dream alive. We have Hyun. Also looking cool as a cucumber right there.
Yeah,
just ready to take it.
He definitely, he doesn't look like he's flustered in any way. I think he's just kind of like, right, I just need to knuckle down and get on with it now. And of the play styles that we've seen in this tournament so far, I feel like, you know, True's kind of been playing... I hesitate to use this phrase because it's been said so many times before, but he is feeling a little bit more Zergy. He's been busy scouting out what Hyun's doing and reacting to that and being completely fine with it. And just trying to get little advantages that way, and I think it's really paid off for him so far. Whereas Hyun, I feel like, I mean, he is the Manny Pacquiao of this situation, man. He's going in, all guns blazing, flurry of fists left, right, and center. But on this occasion, he's just not able to break through the defense.
Well, this game, we're probably not going to be seeing anything too crazy go on early. Both starting off with a hatchery first. Makes sense, it's a huge map. They don't know they're in cross spawns, but even if you're in close spawns here, it's still a large map, so hatchery first, absolutely fine. I very much doubt anyone would try a 9 pool on Inferno pools.
Yeah, it could be a bit of crazy. I mean, actually, I've seen it in online cups before. It's actually possible to do that and win. We can see Wardy just taking a look at the real estate there. Mate, I really wouldn't pay a lot of money for a house there, and I definitely wouldn't pay a lot of money for a house here.
Your heating bill would be pretty cheap there.
It would be, man.
And you're always complaining how in London it's cold.
It's true. London is generally just freezing. We've had like 3 days of good weather this year, which is great, by the way, but considering every year we have a maximum of 5, I'm a little bit worried because I don't know where the other 2 are going to be. But hey, that's a story for another time. So as you mentioned, no nasty surprises in the opening. Sometimes I do quite like the vertical spawns, because I keep thinking, actually, taking a third base, sort of moving it closer to your opponent, makes for really fun, dynamic middle games. But of course, you can then also get games that just snowball even faster as well. It just means it lends itself more to aggression, but we're not going to be seeing that in this situation.
You may be seeing gold bases, though. That's certainly something which we could get in this game, and it always is fun when you start grabbing gold bases and how that influenced the playstyle of these two. But
see, Wardy's rotating around the Overlords there. He's looking for the Widow Mines, but Hard isn't playing in this game, so it's all right, guys. Don't even worry about it. All right, so the first couple of links popping out now for True. It's going to be 6 again, and he's going to move on down. He seems to be... but this time he's splitting them up. So last game we just saw 6 Zerglings going straight for the throat, and that was from Hyun. And this game we have True just splitting up his scouting, and, well... we'll see what comes of it. I mean, at the moment, it looks like he just wants to give a spot, by the looks of things, on where Hyun's Overlords are going. Because there's not too much else he's going to be spotting from that position. I think he wants to see if Hyun's doing something sneaky, but nothing's getting past True at this point.
Yeah, True is just going completely fan out, get every single possible route across the map, and find out what is Hyun going for. Baning Nest is what Hyun has started, but not too many lings yet. Speed a little way off, whereas if we look over on True's side, he actually cut gas at exactly 100, so he's not going to have Banelings, he's only got speed. And Speedlings up against Speedling Baneling isn't the nicest engagement you'd ever have. If it's me, I just lose everything to one Baneling shot because I'm pretty bad. But
I feel like Hyun's doing it again, though, Maddles. I mean, 10 lings on the way, Baneling Nest nearly completing. Interesting that he's going to this with the Spine Crawler behind it as well, just for a little bit of defense. So it's not going to be all-out aggressiveness from Hyun. And True now starting a defense of his own. He's got a bit of gas once again, but... well, I think he should have enough time to set this up. I mean, it's quite a long way cross-map, to be honest, on Inferno Pool.
Yeah, it is, and I doubt we'll see too much of a commitment to this. Oh, actually, he's got 12 more lings coming through. He's going quite heavy here.
Yeah, with the Baneling Nest. You think he's doing something the same as last game.
Which is odd, because he did get the spine down. So we'll wait and see what's happening there. True, of course, he's getting down his own spine crawler, getting out a lot of lings on his own. But as I mentioned earlier, True doesn't have a Baneling Nest, and as a result, the Ling Bling micro, if it's good from Hyun, is going to be very challenging to deal with. We've already got, 8 Banelings morphing in, and that's scary times.
When we have a Baneling Nest coming up for True as well now, so very, very late compared to Hyun's, but he will be on even footing if Hyun's not able to deal with the Spine Crawler in time. A bit of a skirmish in the middle of the map at least reduces the likelihood of having to deal with those links in your mineral line, but now True sees Hyun rolling past with those Banelings, and his own Baneling Nest is only halfway done. Can Hyun make something of this?
Well, interestingly, True's just running across the map. He's going to go for it, hoping that these Spines and the Queens are going to be able to stop these Banelings easy enough, but down goes that Spine Crawler pretty quickly. A lot of the Banelings actually detonating there, not getting that much damage out. Meanwhile, back at home, Hyun does have a couple of defensive Banelings, and that really shuts down any counterattack that True was going for with only those Speedlings. Very interesting situation, but all the Queens are going to be careful they moved out. If they get surrounded and taken down, that would be a big problem. The Banelings are going to go for the detonation. A couple of transfuses. Only one Queen dies so far. not as much as Hyun would have been hoping for.
No, queens are very, very beefy, and I like the True. If he had to move out with the queens, he kept them as a unit. He kept them bunched together, and of course he had his own links in support as well. So True is going to be feeling okay about that. He lost the Spine Crawler, and there are more links coming in, but with both queens in support, oh, good micro saving. Well, saving both of them actually, and a good transfuse, and it looks like his own aggression against Hyun has had to pull back as well. So after the end of that, True, guys, once again as the defensive player, getting the later Baneling Nest, getting the later bunch of Zerglings there. He's on 34 workers, and Hyun, Metals, he's only on 26.
Yeah, and he's pumping out Maulings. He's pretty much all in, or very, very heavily invested at this stage. He's only at 26 workers to the 34 of True. He's pumping nothing but units. Hyun isn't hoping to take this to the later stages. He just wants to win. He knows he's got Banelings defensively, so he can hold off against these Speedlings. But can he do any damage across the map? That's what's important.
Oh, and True getting into the main base of Hyun is not going to be a situation he wanted. Trying to pick off a... Oh my goodness. 6 health on that Queen. Ladies and gentlemen, that's about as close as it gets. I think he should have a transfuse, possibly in the natural, but darn, that is not what True wanted to accomplish when he walked over there. So army supply at the moment, quite... Whoa! Whoa! And that was a little bit of a setback. Hyun has significantly fewer Banelings to work with now, and this attack is, well, I mean, he's going to get some Zerglings in, but imagine what this would look like, Mattles, with 4 Banelings in tow.
Yeah, the Queen even managing to stay up as well here. This is definitely a good map to be a Queen on.
Daredevil Queens, man. This is kind of crazy. Like, the number of Queens, less than 20 hit points, I think is like 3 and counting this game. Let's see how many we can do.
Now, worth noting that while this aggression has gone on, Hyun did start droning up. So he's got a small worker lead at the moment, but for such a long period, he was 10 drones down, and catching back up from that is going to be very, very difficult.
True has 700 minerals in the bank, so potentially he could be going in for another base at some point soon. We can see he's going to be chilling out now, both sides just relaxing as we get the Roach Warren in the back of the base for True. But, you know, both sides, they're going for their Roach Warrens, they're going for their +1. We've acknowledged that we're going into the mid-game, so this could end up being a big Roach v Roach kind of situation, sort of 5 minutes from now, where the Zergling Baneling phase of the game has just lasted quite a bit. True's going to move out with a little bit, but that's not really the size of an army that wins you a game. It's just really for harassment.
Bold move coming down from here and taking the gold base, but as is True, unfortunately it's been spotted, and that means that our red Zerg is going to come over and try and force the cancel. The gold base is so critical as well. If you get that up and your opponent doesn't, even if you get a third base and your opponent doesn't, it's massive in ZVZ. So this is something that really Hyun needs to keep up. Got to be careful of those 4 Banelings waddling their way across, wanting to come and say hello. 4 defensive Banelings as well there. This is tense. This
is ridiculous. And okay, that's good. And 2 Banelings for 2 Banelings. They're not actually killing any of the Lings. Still needs to be... Oh! Wow, that's a massive number of Zergling bodies going over the edge there, but it looks like True is not going to be able to get anything more than just a scout off here. And bear in mind that at home... Oh, if he gets a... I think he got... Yes, he got a drone there, I believe. Very, very nicely done. And right now, True currently sitting at 100 supply.
A big wave of drones just came from Hyun. So he's trying to saturate that gold base, but as a result... What he doesn't realize is back at home, we've actually got True pumping out an awfully high number of roaches. He's got roach speed on the way. It's a bit behind that of Hyun. He's got +1, which is slightly ahead that of Hyun. But just look at the army. 64 army supply to 31 in True's favor. And he's still pumping more roaches. Hyun is now responding, but he has taken a 4-drone lead. And with that gold base, it'll be nice. But he's got to be careful because that's a lot of roaches.
Well, the thing that I really like that True's done, Maddles, is that he's moved over a lot of his drones that were mining at the other mineral patches to his gold base. So even though Hyun had a massive drone round to try and saturate the gold, you know what? True's done that as well. The difference is actually on the mineral patches back in the main base for the most part. So True now enjoys an 88-49 army supply lead. That is huge, guys. I don't need to tell you that. But it means that he'll have map control for the next couple of minutes. And Hyun, all of a sudden, he's going to have to find the R key on his keyboard, guys, and really hold it down. He's trying for a bit of aggression right now, but mate, with the size of this army, you would be silly to think you could go any further with it, and True now pushes out across the map.
Roach speed finished for both players, +1 finished for both players. Numbers is really the only thing that's coming down here, and engagement position. +2 is already started for Hyun, so if he holds this off, he will generate an upgrade lead, and obviously he does have defender's advantage, but it's 44 roaches to 24.
Exactly, and that's really a massive difference right now. We have queens here, we have faster reinforcements for Hyun, That could mean he eventually wins this fight, but the number of roaches that True initially started this engagement with is absolutely huge, and I love the fact that he's engaging from one angle as well so that he doesn't get surrounded by any reinforcements. He's now starting to push Hyun back. Is this going to be some sort of tipping point? Here comes Hero Baneling. Unfortunately, it doesn't do that much damage, and Hyun is now down to 80 supply. I think True's going to be able to push ahead and win the game here.
Yeah, he's in a monumental position. There we go, GG. True takes a clean 2-0. And I guess that teaches me for siding with Caldor on the predictions.
Oh man, very, very difficult situation to be in. True, very happy, immediately getting out of his chair, still with bounds of energy, and Hyun not looking like a happy bunny indeed. Unfortunately, that was the final match, and that means he is now out. True completing the 4-0 sweep over Rocket's Hyun. Very, very convincing.
Really nice play though by True. Everything's solid, everything looking good. Defense is really, really strong, and that early game defense really is what bought him so much time. Both in game 1 and 2, he had to deal with quite a lot of aggression coming through from Hyun, but it worked beautifully for him.
Both times, True just patiently was the defensive player, used his gases a little bit later, got his Baneling Nest a little bit later, made a couple fewer Zerglings, allowed the advantages to accumulate, and was able to steamroll then. You wouldn't think that that necessarily directly leads to a 40 supply lead somewhere down the line, and sure, a couple little things have to go right or wrong for that to happen, but it certainly makes it a lot easier. Both games, Hyun trying to be the aggressor, but just unable to get past the defenses of True.
Well, that of course means that True advances into tomorrow's bracket stage. Yep. He does take the second place in the group, and that means that his seeding is slightly worse, but we'll hear more about that as the analysis desk is ready, and I'm looking forward to their thoughts on this game.
Exactly right. Guys, take it away.
Cheers, guys. Well casted, and yeah, Hyun, bit out of sorts, isn't he, mate?
Out of sorts. I think True's just that good, man.
I'm sad.
Yeah, you're very sad, yeah. I mean,
I believed in my boy, but well, True did it again.
it's unbelievable.
Pull the Britney Spears.
I mean, why is it? I mean, is it really a case that True's like just an absolute monster and, you know, Hyun could do nothing, or is it a bit of both?
True. Honestly, like, oh, sorry to interrupt, but like, honestly, I was watching that game and there was quite a few big mistakes from Hyun that it's like he just wasn't able to look at everything at once, which is what you're asked of when you play Starcraft 2 at the highest level. Oh, really? I mean, I'll cover for now. But like, there was a moment where there were 6 Banelings all waddling across the map, and then True, oh, I'm giving you time. But like, then the 2 Banelings just came and plonked him and just owned them. So there was just little trades and engagements that were just going in True's way every time. It's just because he was playing a little bit better than Hyun.
Well, what we're going to do is, while I put my mic back on, the magic of live television, we're going to quickly give you a replay from the first game, which is an example of, I believe, Hyun's micro.
Oh wow, great micro there.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
That was real micro, it was mild.
But, I mean, at this point in time, True's so far ahead in supply, and this is just a nightmare situation for Hyun to be in. The Lings killing everything, killing the Queens. Killing Queens is a huge deal. Huge Baneling hits, that was an incident where True wasn't really paying attention, but True's ready for the next step every time, getting ready for those Banelings to run into the mineral line, catch those drones that are running back and such, and yeah, I mean, this replay particularly, like, this showed a point in time where True had already won the game, and it was just cementing his victory. But yeah, True, he just played very, very well, actually.
The thing is, like, we didn't see the first game, and that's actually like pretty nice micro that we have there from Hyun, but it's of course too little, too late. I mean, he's at this point like 40 supply behind already, and this is just not enough. It was a good defense against the 3 Banelings, so they didn't get caught off guard there, but it was already too late. For me personally, like, as I didn't see the original series between the 2 of them with how fast it ended, I could have seen True maybe like pulling one over Hyun and just like surprising him completely. That was kind of what I was hoping for. But he's just solid. Like, he played a solid series there, and in the first series that they played, apparently a bit more aggressive, and this one was a bit more drawn out. But True is good. He proved it, and Hyun, sad, but he's out.
Well, we've got some footage from the end of the first game as well, so we can talk some more about, you know, True's majesty and how well he was performing.
I mean, right now,
this is a cleanup
job right now. This is like, the game is over. He's just cleaning up. That's 100. He has more than twice the army supply. Upgrades seem to be exactly the same at this point. Both of them aiming for the +2 now. But there is absolutely nothing that Hyun can do here. This is an A-click.
And there was a classic gob off there, as I believe they're called.
Gob off, yeah. Well, like
I am learning
newly
the
named.
terminology.
Yeah, newly named this weekend.
Well, honestly, as soon as I get the name of the units down, I'll be a beast at analysing this game. I know that for a fact. But we've also got True in the second series as well, closing it out, so we can talk some more about him. Is True a genuine, is he a true contender for this tournament, guys?
Going into this, I'd have said he's a really good player, but is he one of the best here? I'd have said probably not. That being said, True was a guy that, when Zerg wasn't doing that well, True was a guy that was making it to top 4 GSL back when he played for like Jin Air and such. Since he's moved away from that team, and honestly, the results that he was putting on the table, they weren't all that, but the fact that he just really blitzed through this group, and he only lost to Jadon really because he kind of got cheesed out and caught unaware.
Well, that's the point I was going to bring up. I mean, losing to Jadon, you might say, okay, but the manner of the defeat, it wasn't...
I mean, you look at both these games, how they ended, and it was True just having way more than his opponent and just barrel rolling him, And like this, Hyun's no slouch by any means. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how he does in this group. In fact, he's against Bunny next.
Bunny, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, both of these guys have not specifically practiced for the matchup now. Of course, like, they've trained in general, but like for this tournament in particular, both of their groups did not consist any players of the other players' race. So that's the first ZVT for both of them.
Yeah. So just some final thoughts then. I mean, unlucky for Hyun, back to the drawing board for him. Obviously, he's your boy. He's going to be all right. Is he going to bounce back?
He's going to be all right. I mean, like, we saw that video actually about him with that interview where he said that in the past he had a few moments where he was thinking about retiring, since he also is getting older, and that right now it's not really something like a topic that really concerns him because he feels really good and really strong. Didn't work out for him this time, but I don't think that this is going to like throw him in some kind of like down spiral. Like, he's good. He's going to prove it again. I'm not worried.
What about you? What do you think about your boy? Your boy.
My boy True.
No, your boy Hyun.
Oh, I was, I voted for True. I predicted.
Yeah, I know, but he's
my boy Hyun.
He's everyone's boy.
I know.
Come on.
Honestly, like, if he went into a tournament and he played absolutely abysmally and lost to everybody, then you could be like, then you could worry. But he came here. He still showed pretty darn good games. He took down Showtime, one of the best European foreigners, and Showtime made it to top 4 WCS. So, Hyun, are you down and out? The answer is no. He's not. And he's been a contender for so long. Like, I remember watching that Hyun Becomes a Pro Gamer, and Hyun was on that series, and that was like, 10 years ago? So he's a Brood War, or ex-Brood War professional. He's been around in Starcraft 2 for so long. I remember that weekend series where they put Hyun against another best player in the world, and he won like 14 of them in a row or something ridiculous.
Those best of 7s, right? Best of 5s,
best of 5, best of 7, or best of 9s even in some cases. Like
it was ridiculous, like 14 in a row or something like that. It was crazy.
And you're not just saying like, Hyun
IPL.
against some...
What's the IPL so much series?
Yeah. So you're not just talking about like Hyun against some random like Yobo. It's like he was literally against the best player at the time every week, and he decimated them.
They ran out of ideas. At some point they ran out of ideas. They were like,
it almost got
killing them.
It almost got boring because it was meant to be a winner stays on kind of thing, and it was just, who's Hyun going to own this week? So yeah, he's going to bounce back, I'm sure.
That's good to hear, and thanks for your thoughts. But what we're going to do is now we're going to pick the brains of True. James Banks is apparently with him right now and is going to interview him. So take it away, James.
Thank you, Richard. I'm joined by True and Inu, our fantastic translator, once again. Now, first thing first, as part of that epic ZVZ, the first game. Now, it really looked like it could have gone either way there for a while, but True was just all over Hyun there, and I was thinking to myself at the time, I was like, is this game going to even out at all? Was he completely confident that was just going to be a win for him?
첫 번째 경기에 이겼는데 그때 좀 자신감 있게 이길 줄 알고 이렇게 플레이를 하셨는지 아니면 좀 질 수도 있겠다 그런 부분도 있었나요?
그 빌드가 제가 좋아가지고 그리고 상대 빌드를 제가 봐가지고 그때부터는 제가 굉장히 유리하다고 생각했어요, 계속.
When I scouted his build and saw like both of our builds, I saw that I'm really like from the builds I could only win, so I was really confident in the first game.
Brilliant. And game 2, basically almost an exact repeat. did he expect, first of all, for Hyun to do that exact repeat? And then when it got to like the mid-game, we were kind of thinking, okay, it's definitely going to even out now. And then the roaches came and they just massed up the army. It just looked flawless.
두 번째 게임도 이제 거의 비슷하게 경기가 진행됐었는데 그때도 좀 예상을 했던 건가요? 아니면 뭐 어땠었나요?
아 그때는 너무 서로 공격적으로 해가지고 정신없이 하다 보니까 제가 좀 수비적으로 해가지고 거리가 멀어가지고 상황이 제가 좀 더 좋았던 것 같아요. 그래서 그거 앞서가는 부분을 이끌어서 이겼던 것 같아요.
I think in the second game, because the distances were really wide, so I had a better position to defend his aggression. So I think that was why I was able to win and get in a good position.
Okay, and final question really is, now that obviously he's beaten someone like Hyun, who I would consider a very, very strong Zerg player, what's his thoughts for the rest of his tournament? Is he feeling very confident? Because whenever you look at True, whenever you see him, he's just completely calm, completely confident, and doesn't seem fazed by anything. How does he think he's going to fare now? Is he feeling the momentum?
이제 이번 경기를 이기고 나서 좀 이번 전체 대회를 앞서 봐가지고 이제 우승을 할 수 있을 것 같은지 뭐 자신감이 어떤지. 왜냐면 항상 보면 트루 선수는 엄청 차분하고 조용한 선수 같은데 속마음을 얘기한다면 어떤가요?
아 그동안은 너무 긴장을 많이 했던 것 같고 스위스에서 한 달 정도 살았는데 살면서 약간 사람들이 좀 부유하게 사는 걸 보고 나는 그걸 보고 긴장 안 하게 됐어요. 긴장을 좀 덜 하게 됐어요. 아무것도 아니다 이렇게 생각하니까 좀 덜 하게 되는 것 같아요.
I can already tell I'm going to like this answer, by the way.
To be honest, like normally I was really always unconfident and like a little bit shaken when I went to a tournament. But now actually after I lived for a month or so in Swiss, I'm kind of more relaxed because I watched the other players and other people live there and they were like always so relaxed and I kind of adapted that and now I feel much better.
Very nice. Well, if you can keep that going forward, then I'm sure it could propel him to some more victories. But we're going to head it straight back to the analyst desk. Thank you very much, True.
Thank you.
Well, there we go. Great to hear from True. And no wonder he's so relaxed. He's already got his pyjamas on, hasn't he? Ready for bedtime. I want to get one of those tops. They're pretty fly. Like, no, I bet you feel just nice, like you're playing at home.
Too, apparently.
Yeah, you wouldn't wear one, you said.
Thanks for throwing me in that, Richard.
There's a bus.
Oh, thank you.
I like our analysis. We've spent more time talking about fashion stuff as well.
Fashion stuff, chicken, the whole shebang.
The chicken is good.
Yeah, look, let's leave chicken out of it just for 5 minutes, all right? But we're going to bring up the bracket now so we can see how this has affected the tournament so far. So one more game to go before we are down to our last 8. And you can see it's already looking pretty stacked. SOS versus Hydra there, Bunny versus True, that's decided. Solar versus Sashi. And coming up, of course, is going to be Patience versus MC.
Awesome. That's a match that I'm very much so looking forward to.
Bit of PvP.
I mean,
I love how you just decided Sashi is way too hard to pronounce.
I styled it out. Mate, I had the schedule problem as well earlier. Is it schedule? Is it schedule?
I can't remember. At some point, screw that. We renamed the guy. He's Sashi.
Yeah, it's Sashi now, mate. That's what he's getting called. No, but I knew it was wrong as it came out, and I thought, who's going to notice? And Cal does straight in, isn't he? Of course he is. It's been a good segment. Lost my mic inside my shirt. Can't pronounce players' names.
We had a caster earlier. I'm not going to say who, but who immediately said, when we were talking about which games do you want to cast, give me the other one. I don't want to pronounce the nickname. So that's the only reason why I actually noticed.
Well, thank you. Thanks for that, Caldo.
Hey, we're going to rename him, okay? If I cast that out of solidarity, I'm going to call him Sashi.
Thank you.
No problem.
And you
You're
will be
welcome.
casting the final game, won't you? You'll be casting MC versus Patience.
Exactly. I'm going to cast now with Roy Dam for the PvP series, which is
So
pretty cool.
we are going to talk a little bit about that when we come back. But thanks a lot for your thoughts in this section, and thanks a lot for highlighting my mistake.
No
First
problem,
mistake
you're
I've
welcome.
made this day, by the way. Ben, you're not going anywhere. And just before we do go to break, I want to remind you guys we have got a competition running for you. With our partners at Green Man Gaming. It's real easy. All you got to do is follow at Gfinity on Twitter and at Green Man Gaming 2. And then you've got to do a tweet using hashtag SCMasters for a chance to win 1 of 5 games. It's an awesome prize there. So, again, thanks very much, guys. We're going to go to a break. And then when we get back, we're going to bring you the final game of the day. It's going to be PvP. It's going to be MC versus Patience. See you there.